Hello, my name is Jeffrey Ritter. I'm going to be the instructor for teaching emerging law governing digital information this semester at Georgetown University. I'm excited to be teaching this course, and I wanted to take a few minutes to get you oriented to what's going to be covered in this course and hopefully why you should be taking the course. You know, I've been practicing technology and digital law since before we even had the internet, before we had cell phones. In fact, the first questions that I confronted as a practicing attorney were whether a fax with a handwritten signature could be accepted as a binding contract under the statute of frauds in Korea. So it's been quite an evolution. This course is the first time I've had the opportunity to teach and to transfer the substantive body of law that has been carefully building up over the last 3 decades. I'm excited. And I'm excited for you to have the opportunity to be the first students to join me in this intellectual adventure. Let's take a couple minutes to take a look at what the course is actually going to cover, the syllabus principles, and what you will be able to do by the time you've ended this course. Now, as I mentioned, digital information has emerged as a new kind of property. You know, it's not real estate, it's not tangible, and yet for those assets, we have extensive bodies of law that you've already begun to study. But for digital information, something different is occurring. New laws and new rules are accelerating into existence, some of which, frankly, aren't even in the legal books themselves, but can be found in other sources. So what this course is going to do is invite you to join me in investigating the new rules governing digital information, assets, and systems. The course will enable students to acquire the knowledge, the tools, and the strategies for creating valued legal work product. But that's what the course is intended to do. What are we really trying to accomplish with the syllabus? Well, the syllabus itself is available online, and you can take a look at that in more detail. But what I'd like to highlight for you are the key principles. Now, these principles are what are driving the design of the course. First of all, we want you to be able to learn the law. We want you to be able to, more importantly, learn to ask the right questions about technology. We're all aware of the dynamic, rapid shifts that are occurring, but how do those shifts influence the way you bring your legal skills into the real world and make yourself a competitive, valued asset for your clients, for your firm, for your corporation, or for the public service agency that you're employed by? Finally, we want to use this course to jump on the commitment toward experiential learning so that you can begin to develop some professional skills that are important. Improving your ability to research, solve problems, collaborate with others, and communicate the outcomes of your work. More and more, we are working in distributed teams. Oftentimes, our team members are in different cities, states, even countries. We may work for years with them without ever actually meeting them face to face. And so this course is fitting into the reality of the employment situations that are out in the real world. It's designed to give you a competitive advantage by beginning to develop those skills a little faster and hopefully a little better than the rest of the market. Now, this course has been developed using principles of instructional design. That requires us to be very clear in expressing what the learning objectives are of the course. The learning objectives are what, at the end of the course, you should be able to accomplish and perform. They're measurable attributes that you have at the end of the course. Well, for this course, what are those attributes? Take a moment to look over these and study these, because these are the skills, the capabilities, the attributes that we want you to be able to achieve by taking this course. Each one of these is, as a learning objective, something to which the rest of the content is designed. As I said, pause the button, take a moment to look over these, and get comfortable that these are skills that you will value as a practicing attorney, wherever you take your practice. So now we return to the other part of the course, which is figuring out whether you've learned what you're supposed to achieve in the learning objectives. What I wanted to share with you, though, is what you'll be seeing throughout the course. which is an indication of exactly how your effectiveness at achieving the learning objectives will be measured. So for example, in each module, which is a portion of a weekly course, we'll lay out the learning objective that that module focuses on, and for that module, and this is just an example, we'll actually explain to you, and you'll see in advance what are the activities you'll be performing, what are the resources you'll use, and how will we actually grade you in accomplishing your progress toward those learning objectives. We'll even explain to you how it will be measured and the weight. And then there's the final exam. In this course, the final exam is the single most important contributor. But once again, for the exam, we will show you what on the exam, which learning objectives you need to be able to focus on achieving, and as you can see, we'll even tell you what the exam will do. Now, the actual fact pattern won't be revealed, of course, until the end of the semester. But for example, in this case, where one of the learning objectives is your ability to distinguish domestic and international regulatory strategies and values, you'll realize, like any lawyer dealing with digital assets, you have to work through alternative service configurations based on geography. You'll need to research the rules, compare the rules, and then tell me what's the best geographic configuration and support that selection. So that's what the course is about. That's what we hope you'll be able to achieve as learning professionals, and it even gives you a hint as to how we're going to be measuring that progress throughout the course. Next, we'll be taking a look in more detail at the substantive content that will be covered and some of the administrative questions that need to be addressed. And now I'd like to turn your attention to some of the administrative information that's often carried over and discussed in the first lecture of the course. This course is being designed to maximize the engagement that occurs in the classroom time. And so just like with this video, much of the lecturing will be occurring online as part of your regular homework, and the time we have together in the classroom will be spent problem solving, collaborating, sharing knowledge. It will make it engaging, interactive, and very much like the learning curve that you have to take in order to become a successful and effective lawyer in the digital world. So let's take a look at the content of the course, how assignments and materials, grading, and administration. The course is designed into 13 weekly modules. Within each session of each week, we'll be focusing on different content and different learning objectives. We'll be giving you in advance of each week a detailed map to navigate what that week's content and activities will be about. Here you can take a look over the overall architecture of the course as also reflected in the syllabus. What we're trying to do is to effectively give you the opportunity in 13 weeks to accelerate your learning curve, the same curve that I took over nearly 30 years. I began my practice as a mergers and acquisitions corporate guy, never expecting to be dealing with technology. But the clients needed the service at a time when there were no books or case materials on software or licensing or buying hardware. There was no internet. And so in structuring the course, I've worked very hard to give you something that replicates the evolution that's occurred, but enabling you to be positioned at the end of the course to be able to walk into the next project with an advantage of understanding the law and knowing how to work through the digital law problems with a improved effectiveness and peripheral vision that makes you more valuable to the teams on which you will be working. So this is the content of the course. Let's now take a look at the rest of the administrative information. You know, in many law school courses, particularly those that have evolved from the 20th century and are still teaching around 20th century law, a common strategy for upper class students is to do something that I used to call skim and bluff. You'd read the cases, you might look at the head notes on the Westlaw publications, and then you try to bluff your way in class without having substantively analyzed the cases. Well, I need to let you know, this is not going to be a skim and bluff class. Each week there will be reading materials assigned that you need to access. There will be videos such as this one that will be part of your learning, and there will be assignments that need to be turned in. Some of these might be very short, a paragraph or two. Some of them may involve you designing solutions, problem solving. It may also involve, on occasion, collaborating with your classmates in the same kind of awkward, hi, nice to meet you, now we have work to do, real world setting in which you will be placed as the digital lawyer coming out of law school who, by virtue of your age or the technological world around you, is expected to know this stuff. Now, one thing about assignments that I want to share with you. The reading materials will be online. There is no casebook. The videos will be online. But for the assignments, generally the deadlines will vary, but single student submissions will need to be to me by Sunday at 6 p.m. That gives me the opportunity, since the class is meeting on Mondays, to review the materials and give you cogent feedback in the classroom. Now, I realize that may be something that needs to be planned for, but it's important so that we can work as a team to move you along the learning curve that the course presents. Now, as I mentioned, the course materials, well, there is no casebook. We looked. This is a course that is first of its kind in the United States, except for one seminar that I found up in the middle Northwest. And so as a result, we're going to be providing you the reading materials online. But you will be needing to acquire some mapping software. Not longer just passively looking at the maps as you are in this video, and some of you did in Section 3 Real Property, but rather working with the software itself as a tool to do what mapping enables: problem solving, decision making, taking action. Mapping improves your memory and recall. One of the major bar exams actually uses mapping as one preparing for the bar exam. Taking notes, researching, writing, but ultimately pulling this stuff together so that you have a single structure where you can not only take what you've learned, but your own knowledge and have it where you can use it. That's going to be very important to when you get to the final exam, because the final exam will pull upon all the materials we've covered in the course. If you've got them organized, it will make that exam so much easier. So how are we going to grade the course? Your grade in the course will be based on 4 components. Class preparation, meaning have you actually read and prepared for the class. The quality of the assignments that you submit. These assignments will be incremental and iterative. None of them will be major papers, but they will add up over the course of a semester to be 20%. Class participation is another 10%. As I said, these classes will be interactive. You won't be able to hide in the back row. And if you're not prepared to engage with the class, then you might need to be thinking about whether it's the right class for you, because this is going to be one that is designed to enable you to achieve the learning objectives, which is, if you will, hands-on learning. And then, of course, there's the final exam. That will constitute 60%. It will be, as I mentioned, a fact pattern that will require you to navigate and show your skills at all of the learning objectives that are integrated into the course. Finally, let's just turn to course administration. The course will be managed here on TWIN, the Westlaw Educational Network. So be sure to include and select this course in My Courses. Now, I'll be using many of the functions there: discussion groups, wikis, the assignment Dropbox, the calendar, and the ability for you to schedule office appointments. So be sure to check in often on TWIN. There will be material posted throughout the course of the semester. In terms of getting a hold of me, well, there's my Georgetown email address, my phone number, and I'll be maintaining office hours there at McDonough. The office hours that I'll be maintaining are on Mondays after class, 1:15 to 3:30 p.m. But if you need to reach me otherwise, just make an appointment. I'm generally available by Google, Skype, and other means to collaborate with you. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the course, and you'll be looking for your first assignment, and we'll be getting to work on day 1 without having to go through the administrivia that we've covered in this video. By the way, a full copy of the mind map that we've used for supporting this video is available for download in TWIN as part of the materials for the first class in the course. Look forward to having you in the class. Look forward to learning with you. and achieving the objectives of making you a competitive and successful lawyer in a digital world.